Hello everyone. So in this session we will discuss problem number 24 related to projection of solids. The question is, so a hexagonal pyramid 25 mm sides of base and 50 mm axis length rests on HP on one of its edges of the base. So which is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. Draw the projections of the pyramid when the axis is inclined to HP at 45 degrees. So the question says, so the type of the solid is a pyramid. Okay, so if I say a pyramid, so you will be having only the base, okay, and all your lateral faces will be in the form of a triangle, and all those lateral faces will meet at a common point called as apex. So in case of pyramid, you will be having only the base. The top face you will not be having here as in case of prisms. Okay, and the type of pyramid, what type of pyramid it is the hexagonal pyramid. The base will be consisting of the hexagon. The polygon is so hexagon. And what are the dimensions of the hexagonal pyramid he has given? The base, that is the hexagon, the size of the hexagon is 25 mm, and the height is nothing but the axis length of the pyramid, that is equals to 50 mm. So we will solve this projection of solids in three positions. The first position is the normal position, so where we will consider the resting plane, on which plane the solid is resting. In this case, the solid is resting on HP. In the question is clearly telling that it is resting on HP. And how it is resting on the HP, that is what we call it as resting position. So it is resting on one of its edges of the base. It means that, so that edge should be there touching to HP always in all the three positions. So what are the resting position that is there, edge of the base? You place that resting edge or the side towards your right hand side. So this is the position of the solid we will take, and we will take the different views, that is the top view as well as front view. So in this position, if I see the pyramid from the top, so it looks like a hexagon. So all the base edges are visible. Along with the base edges, so you will be having the slant edges. So all the 6 slant edges. Slant edges means edge which is starting from the corner of the base and it will meet at the apex point of the pyramid. So that is called as the slant edge. So in case of prisms it was vertical edges. So in case of pyramid you will be having the slant edges. Slant means the inclined edges. So all those will meet at the apex point. Okay, so that is about the top view. So coming to the front view, so front view it looks like a triangle. So in this triangle, so you'll be having the slanted, the base of the hexagonal pyramid will be visible along with the base. So you can see the 3 slant edges. So among the 6 slant edges, 3 slant edges are visible, and axis line is not visible here because that will get overlap with respect to the front slant edge. So this is about the first position. So let us kick off now. So I'll go to the construction. So now I'll take the grid sheet here I have taken, and with respect in this grid sheet I have considered my XY line, and I have taken VP above the XY line and HP below the XY line. So I'll consider the first angle of projection, hence I have taken VP above and HP below the XY line. So after doing this, so what we will do is, so I'll consider one vertical line. So with respect to this vertical line, what I'll do, so I'll draw the circle. So we need to construct the top view. So top view falls on HP. So top view it looks like a hexagon, right? So we need to construct a hexagon now. So what is the size of the hexagon he has given in the question? 25 mm. So let us take the dimension 25 mm. So now I'll consider any one point on this vertical line that I have considered, and I'll draw the circle. So draw the circle with thin lines. So once after drawing this circle, what we need to do is, so I have got the circle here. Once after getting this circle, so we need to obtain the 6 corners of the hexagon on this circle. So I'll consider the vertical diameter. So because the problem is side resting problem, so I need to consider the vertical diameter in order to obtain side towards my right hand side. So vertical diameter is the line, so which I have considered as my reference. So what I'll do is, with the same 25 mm, you take your compass, you place your needle leg of the compass on that vertical diameter, one end point on the circumference of the circle, and you cut the arc on either sides of the diameter on the circumference of the circle. So now change your position and you keep your compass here and you construct the 2 arcs on either sides on the circumference of the circle. So in this way, so the two endpoints of the diameter will act as the two corners of the hexagon, and those four arcs what you cut, so those will act as the another four corners of the hexagon. So likewise, so we have got 6 corners. So I am going to join all those 6 corners with the help of thick continuous line. So that should be drawn as thick continuous line, 6 edges of the hexagon. So this is my 4th edge. So in this way, so we will obtain the hexagon in the top view. So all the 6 base edges of the hexagonal pyramid are visible along with these 6 edges. So in the top view I have told you that slant edges are also visible. So where do we get the slant edge? So in order to draw the slant edges, first we need to identify the center point of the cross section. So since the hexagon is an even sided figure, we need to draw the diagonals in order to obtain the center point of cross section. So we will draw any two diagonals. So the intersection of the two diagonals will give you the center point of the cross section. Otherwise, that is a point, that is the same point through which you have drawn the circle. Okay, so now I have got the center point of the cross section. Through this center point you will be having the axis passing through it like this. Okay, so now we will be having the apex here. So from all the 6 corners of the hexagon, so we will be having the slant edges. One slant edge will pass from each corner of the hexagon. So this is the first slant edge. So this will be your second slant edge. Okay, it falls on the hexagon, that diameter itself, the diagonal itself, sorry. So this is the third slant edge. So this is your fourth slant edge. Here goes the fifth one, and finally the sixth one. Okay, this is about the top view. So now, so how it looks like from the top we have done. So now let us do the dimensions for this. So take the extension line. So these are the extension lines from the two endpoints, that is the two corners of the hexagon. So with respect to this dimension lines, I will draw the dimension line perpendicular to that, and I will draw the dimension. I will write the dimension there. That is 25 mm. Okay. So now let us do the namings. So only the base corners are there. So from the top view, all the base corners are visible. So I will write them as A, B, C, D. This point is E, and here it will get the F. Okay. So now from the top apex point I call it as O, and the base of that axis point I call it as O1, which is not visible from the top. Hence you place that inside the brackets. And one more thing I have forgot is the angle of the hexagon will be, interior angle is 120 degrees. So this is about the top view. So now let us take the front view of this. So we came to know that earlier. So the front view, it looks like a triangle. So let me extend the projection lines from the top view in order to obtain the front view of the hexagonal pyramid in the first position. Okay, so I am taking the projection lines. From the second projection line, you will be having 3 corners, and you will get the axis line. The same projection line will be the axis, so through which you will be having the axis points. So now I should take the height of the pyramid. What is the height of the pyramid? He has given the 50 mm. Okay, so now that itself is your axis length. So axis means I need to extend. The axis will be always perpendicular to the base. So I have to consider the axis point here, and I will take 50 mm. So I will get this point. Okay, so now I have got the axis point. So the base of the hexagon is completely visible, I said. So you draw that as thick continuous line, the base. Along with this, so you will be having the slant edges. So front view, it looks like a triangle. So this is the one boundary line of the triangle. This is the another edge of the triangle. So what about this center line? So whether you can see the slant edge or the axis line, whether this line should become the axis line or not. Okay, so how to identify that is, so you'll be having the axis point here exactly at the center, below the axis point, exactly below this axis point. So I am having the corner of the hexagon. So if you're having the corner of the hexagon here, so this line will become a thick continuous line. Otherwise I would have drawn this as axis line itself. So here axis line is not visible, so that lies behind that OC slant edge. So this line OC slant edge is visible to you first. Okay, that should be drawn as thick continuous line. So now let us take the dimensions. So this is height is how much? 50 mm. So this I will mark it as 50. So there is a slight variation in this grid sheet. So I have taken it with the actual scale. Now do the namings. So with respect to this first projection line, A is nearer to the x-line, and since it is front view I have to put dashes, and you place the hidden corner inside the bracket. So that is B dash of A dash. So here you will be having 3 corners. So among this, so in this center point, so O1 is the base corner. I should consider the base corner. So hence I should write this as C dash of O1 dash of F dash, because C point is the farthest point with respect to the XY line. So that is visible to the observer. So C dash of O1 dash of F dash. So this is the point. Next here, so in this projection, so I should consider E as the hidden corner, because that lies nearer to the XY line. That is not visible to the observer. So this is written as D dash of A dash. And finally, you'll be having the apex point, that should be written as O dash. So this completes the first position. So where you have taken the hexagonal pyramid, it is placed on HP on one of its edges. So resting side is AB now. So this should resting side, that AB should be there on the X line in all the 3 positions. So now this completes the first position. So let us go to the second position. So how to identify this second position? In the question you will be having the inclination with respect to HP as given, with respect to VP also given. So among these two, which one you will choose first? So it depends upon the condition on which plane you have placed the lamina first. So since the solid is placed on HP, take the condition with HP. Okay. So it is given that the angle of inclination is 45 degrees with respect to HP. What makes an angle of 45 degrees with respect to HP? The axis of the pyramid. Okay. So which is that axis? O01 is the axis. So if you observe this front view, first position front view. So O01 is the axis line. So that is perpendicular with respect to the base. So that should get inclined to HP at an angle of 40, how much it is? 45 degrees with respect to HP in the second position. So inclination to HP. So inclination to HP, that is visible in VP. So we will redraw the figure in VP now. So what is the angle of inclination? So axis should get tilted to an angle of 45 degrees. So whatever the triangle that we are having here, so when I go to the second position, I need to tilt that triangle as it is in such a way that the axis should become an angle of 45 degrees. Okay. So inclination to axis, coming to this. So inclination to axis, he has given it as 45 degrees. Okay. So now how much we have to take the inclination with respect to the base? Because why I am taking this is, first I will consider the inclination with respect to the base in case of pyramids. So in order to identify, find out the inclination with respect to base, what we need to do is, we need to take the 90 degrees minus the angle of inclination what he has given with respect to the axis. So 90 minus 45, you will get it as 45 itself. Okay. So now what we will do is, so I'll take the reference point, I'll transfer this reference point onto the XY line at the desired position. So I call this point as B dash of A dash. So I'll place my protractor here. Okay, and I'll take 45 degree point. Okay, so I should take the angle of inclination as 45 degrees. So after taking this, so you extend this line, you draw a thin line like this. So on this 45 degree line, I need to obtain the remaining corners. So remaining base corners, that is what? So B dash of A dash we are having here. So next you need to take C dash of O1 dash of F1 dash. So place at B dash of O dash and you cut an arc. Okay. Next you take the distance from B dash of A dash to the extreme corner, that is D dash of A dash. By placing at B dash of A dash, you cut an arc onto that baseline what I have got. So you will get the remaining corners. So these are the points that we need to consider here. Okay, so this is one point and this is the another point. So now, so base corners we have got. So we know that the axis is exactly perpendicular with respect to the base. So I need to take the axis line with respect to this base of the axis point, that is C dash of O1 dash of F1 dash. So what I'll do now is, so I'll take the protractor I'll place my protractor along this 45 degree line exactly at this point, that is C dash of O1 dash of F dash. So place at that point and you take the angle as 90 degrees. Now with respect to this 90 degree point, what I'll do is, so I'll draw a thin line. Okay, let me draw a thin line first. So on this line what we need to do is, so we need to take the distance from this base of the axis point to the apex point, place at the center point from where you have taken, and you cut an arc and see where you will get that point. The point where it intersects that vertical line will give you your apex point. So now you do these namings, the base corner namings as you have taken, D dash of E dash here, and you will be having C dash of O1 dash of F dash. So you will get all the base corners as well as the apex point you have got. So once after getting, you join them, so as it is you are having in the first position. So this is the base and this is the one side of the triangle, that is the boundary line, and here you'll get the another boundary line. There you go. So next is the center line. So this should be drawn as thick continuous line itself. So from here base to the apex point, I take it as thick continuous line. From there onwards, I will pull the axis line outside in order to mark the angle. So inclination with respect to HP, that is 45 degrees. So if you want, you can place your protractor exactly at this point and you can measure the angle. So you'll get it as 45 degrees exactly. Okay, I'm getting it as 45 degrees there. So now this is how we will redraw the first position front view inclined to HP at an angle of 45 degrees as they have given in the question. Now let us take the top view. How to obtain the top view? So what we will do is, we will take the horizontal projections from the first position top view and vertical projections from each and every corner from the second position front view. So now let us take those projections and I will do the namings for that. I have taken the horizontal projections as well as vertical projections, and I have done the namings accordingly where the horizontal as well as vertical projections will intersect. So A is this horizontal projection and A dash. These two are intersecting here, so hence I have taken this as A. So likewise I have done all the remaining corners namings. So now let us go to the next step. So after doing the namings, what we need to do is, so we need to draw all the boundary lines or the border lines as thick continuous lines. So how to identify the line is a boundary line or not? So in order to understand that, what we will do is, so first let us take the naming chart. So this is the naming chart that I follow for hexagonal pyramid. So I will be having 6 corners. So from each corner you will be having a 3 bonds, that are 3 lines passing through the corner. So those lines have taken it as a bonds here, or the connections. So since the solids are 3-dimensional object, from each corner you will be having the 3 lines passing through it. Okay, from all the base corners you will be having 3 lines. So now, so what I'll do is, I'll take the scale and I'll place the scale between the 2 corners, so that is D and C. So can I place the scale between D and C? So whether that is possible? Yes, because so there is a bond between DC, so there is a connection between D and C. So hence I can place the scale between D and C. So once after placing that, you check the remaining corners. So if you are getting all the remaining corners on the same side of the scale, so hence, so if you get that, so that line you will call it as a boundary line. So I am getting it on the all the remaining corners on the same side of the scale, so hence I take it as my boundary line. So what about this ED? So ED, there is a bond, so hence I will draw a line, boundary line from E to D here. So next is E to F, so that is the another line, that is also a boundary line. If I join all the boundary lines, so it forms a closed loop. So now coming to this, so C to B, whether I should place C to B or C to O. So C to B there is a connection, and C to O also there is a connection, but which among these two is the boundary line? You just observe. So if I place the scale between C to B, what happens? So this O point is coming inside the scale, so hence CB is not your boundary line. So C to O we have to consider, so this will form a boundary line to you. So that is a borderline what you will get. So that should be drawn as thick continuous line. So this should be drawn as thick continuous line like this. So next, coming to this, so O to A there is a connection, and as well as O to F also there is a connection. So which among these two is a boundary line? So if I place between O to A, so F is going outside the above the scale, and remaining corners are coming inside the scale, below the scale. Okay, so hence, so O to A is not my boundary line, so O to F is my boundary line. See, if I observe, if I place the scale between O to F, I'll get all the remaining corners on the same side. So I'll show it like this. So observe here, so that A is also coming below the scale now. So hence I draw this F to O as my boundary line. So this is my boundary line. Okay, so if I join all the boundary lines, it forms a closed loop. So that is what we have done. So after finding out all the boundary lines and drawing them as thick continuous lines, so now let us identify the hidden corners. How to identify the hidden corners? So we have to see this front view from the top. Okay, the corner nearest to the XY line are not visible from the top. Okay, so hence you place the nearest corners to the XY line as your hidden corners, which are those A as well as B. You place them inside the brackets because they are hidden corner. So from each corner, so A will be having 3 lines, and as well as from B also will be having 3 lines. So this is one hidden corner and this is another hidden corner. So from point A you must have 3 lines, so which are those A to F, A to B and A to O. So right now I don't have any line passing from point A. So you draw the 3 lines as the dashes line, that is the hidden lines. So hidden lines I'll represent it with thick dashes. So A to F. So you must be very careful here. So A to F is one hidden line. So next is A to B. There is a bond. So you draw A to B as hidden line. So that is the second dotted line that you will draw. Next is A to O. So this is the third dotted line that you will get. So this is the third dotted line you will get. Next is, so 3 lines are over with respect to point A. Now you go to another hidden corner, that is point B. So again from point B you will be having 3 lines, which are those AB, B to A, B to C and B to O. Among these 3, B to A already we have drawn. The remaining 2 are B to C. So B to C you need to draw it with the help of, you need to draw it as a thick dotted line, that is dashes thick. So next is, so O to B, this is the slant edge, so that should be drawn as dotted line. So once after from this point B we have drawn 3 lines, the conditions of this point is satisfied now. So you check the remaining corners now for 3 lines. So from point C 3 lines are there, C to B is there, C to O is there and C to D is there. From point F also you will be having 3 lines, so F to A, F to O and F to E is there. If you consider point D, you will be having only 2 lines, DC is there, DE is there. Which is missing here? So D to O is missing. So what type of line we have to draw from D to O now? So we have to draw it as a thick continuous line because it is not my hidden corner. So dotted lines or the hidden lines you will get only from the hidden corners. Okay, the remaining lines you need to draw it as thick continuous lines. So this must be drawn as thick continuous lines. So now the conditions for all the points has been satisfied. So I have missed out only this, the axis line. So this point will be O1. So axis line will remain as axis itself. You draw it as thin chain line. So axis line you draw it as thin chain line from this position onwards always. Okay, so in this case it will be visible because so this is one triangular face. So if it is made up of a glass, this axis line is completely visible to you from the top view. So, okay, so now so the condition, the second position is over. The top view, front view have got as well as the top view. Okay, now let us jump to the third position, so that inclination with respect to VP. So I have to take the condition with respect to VP. So coming to this third position, so I have to see the question. So where is with respect to VP? Here. So what is angle of inclination? Angle of inclination is 30 degrees. So that I have written it here. Angle of inclination is 30 degrees. So what makes an angle of 30 degrees in the third position, that we have to identify? It is resting on, when you read the question, it rests on HP on one of its edges of the base, which is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. Which is inclined means the edge of the base is inclined to VP at 30 degrees. Okay, the edge of the base is making an angle of 30 degrees. So if he is just telling the edge of the base, it means that he will be talking about the first position edge. So which is my resting edge? I have considered here AB as my resting edge. You can observe here AB. So in the first position, the length of AB in the first position was 25, and I have taken the parallel projections, and the length of the AB in the second position also, it remains same 25 itself. If the length does not changes from first position to the second position, okay, so in the third position we will not get any beta angle. So because there is no variation of the length, so always we know that we have to redraw the second position figure. So this is the image or the view that we will get after inclining to HP at an angle of 40 degrees. So if I tilt the same object in the third position, so inclination with respect to VP, this shadow will get rotated, or this view will get rotated to the same angle of inclination. So what is the angle of inclination here? 30 degrees. So what makes an angle of inclination 30 degrees with respect to VP? The edge of the base on which it is resting. So now this edge is perpendicular with respect to VP in the second position. So if you go to the third position, you rotate this object in such a way that this AB makes an angle of 30 degrees with respect to VP. So we have to redraw this figure now in such a way AB makes an angle of 30 degrees. So what I have done is, so I will not get any beta angle because I have made it clear, since there is no variation of length from first position to the second position, I don't get any beta angle. So that is what I have written it here. So first, in order to, before starting the redrawing, so we have to check that whether we will get any beta angle. Since there is, the length of the edge of the base does not change from first position to the second position, the given problem is not a beta angle problem. Okay, the given problem is not a beta angle. So what we have to do, so we have to redraw the second position top view on the 30 degree line by placing the resting side on it. So let us do that now. So let us proceed. So what I have done is, so in the third position, so I have taken one parallel line, because the redrawn figure, whatever the figure that you redraw, the second position figure, so that should not touch your XY line. So after redrawing, so hence what I will do in order to avoid that, so I have taken one parallel line. With respect to this parallel line, what I have done is I have taken 30 degrees. So I have taken from left side to right side, because the side is inclined. We have to rotate this figure so less than 90 degrees. In order to do that, so I have taken the angle of inclination from left side to right side. So now let us construct this. So we have to redraw the figure. So how to redraw the figure? We know that, so AB should get inclined. So here it is perpendicular with respect to VP. So in this case, so in the third position, that should make an angle of 30 degrees with respect to VP. So hence what I have done, I have taken the distance from A to B. You choose any one point, appropriate point on this 30 degree line, and you cut an arc. Okay, so those 2 points you call them as the resting points. So which are those? So one point will be A, other point will be B. Okay, so once after getting A and B, with the help of those 2 corners, I need to obtain all the remaining corners of the pyramid. So how to obtain? You just concentrate on the second position top view figure. So if I extend the line, so this vertical line is inclined to 30 degrees now. So this vertical line and this EA line is perpendicular to each other. So likewise, so DB is perpendicular to AB. So what I'll do, so I'll take the protractor, so I'll place my protractor at point A. Okay, I'll redraw it now, everything as it is what we are having in the second position. So from point A, so place your protractor along the 30 degree line and you mark the angle as 90 degrees. So in the same way, so with respect to point B also, so place your protractor at point B and you mark an angle of 90 degrees with respect to this B point. Okay, once after doing that, so you draw a thin lines. So you draw a thin lines like this. Okay, you must know how to redraw the figures properly. So it should satisfy all the conditions. So we know the distance. We can take the distance from A to E, from the known corner to the unknown corner. So known corner is A and unknown corner for me is E. Take the distance and cut an arc. So likewise, the same distance will be there. So from B to D, with the same distance I have cut the arc. So I have got 2 corners now. So exactly below, above this point A, I will be having point E. So above this point B, I will be having, so here it is below, so I will get this point as D. So 4 corners I have got. I need to obtain the remaining corners. So if you observe this, so AB, so in between AB, you will be having the axis line passing through it. So where this axis line will intersect this AB point, AB line, so that is exactly at this point. I call that naming as 1. So I need to obtain that point 1 which is lying in between A and B now. So take the distance now from B to 1 or A to 1. You can take any distance. So I'll take from B, I'm taking it from point B. So I'll place at B and I'll cut an arc to obtain which point. So I'll get the point 1 now. So here I'll get point 1 like this. Okay. So now what I need to do, I need to take the protractor again. So place your protractor along this 30 degree line at point 1 and you mark the angle as 90 degrees. You mark the angle as 90 degrees. So now with respect to this 90 degree point and point 1, you draw a line in such a way that the line has to pass through this 90 degree point as well as point 1. You extend it on either sides. Okay. So on this line, so you'll get the point O1 you will get. So with respect to this point O1, you will be having the perpendicular line again. So at point O1, so then you'll get points F as well as C. So let us obtain O and O1 point now with respect to this point 1. Take the distance from 1 to O, place at 1 and you cut an arc. So to obtain which corner first? So you'll get corner O, that is the apex point you will get. Okay. Next you take the distance from 1 to O1. Take the distance from 1 to O1. You place at 1 and you cut an arc to obtain the point O1 here. Okay. So now we know that, so with respect to this point O1, I should take F as well as C. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll place the protractor along this axis line at point O1. So with respect to this point O1, what I need to do, I need to mark 90 degree point. So, and with respect to that 90 degree, you draw a line, perpendicular line. Otherwise, if you're having the roller scale, you can take parallel line with respect to the 30 degree line, so which is passing through the point O1 like this. Okay. So once after taking the dimensions like this, take the distance from O1 to F. So it will be same from O1 to C as well. So I'll cut two arcs on that 90 degree line. So I'll get 2 points. So one is point F as well as C. So this point will be F and this point will be C. So once after getting all the corners, you erase all the extra lines. Don't keep any extra lines here, so which will lead to the confusion. So better you erase all the lines. So this is not required. So now once after getting all the points of the pyramid, so you join them as it is, as you are having in case of in the second position. First what I'll do is I'll draw all the boundary lines as thick continuous lines. So from E to D, so this is the boundary E to D. Next is E to F. E to F is again a boundary line. So next here comes DC. So DC is the boundary line.